Alright YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Another street lighting video for yous. On this one I'm being sent back to a job that I believe that I've already shown in the channel before. I'll spin the camera around in a wee second and give yous a look. Yous guys probably won't realise or probably won't notice from the way the videos are uploaded, but this is actually going to be my first time recording anything in easily about a month, I would say, partly down to being like busy, a wee bit down to being unwell and just generally not having the time or opportunity to do so until today. So I'll show you as much as I can, but again I'm a wee bit pushed for time today. So as mentioned, I've already been here before. I've requested that this one gets a new panel, and from reading the job line, it's not had its new panel, and I basically just to look into a section fault for them. So we'll do that again, and this one's on overhead 10 mils, and there's a mixture of 90 watts LEDs, like a mixture, like a variety of different LEDs, some 90 watts, some top entry 55, so there's a good mixture. So first and foremost, or I'll spin the camera around and I'll give you a wee look at it first, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do. So I believe from memory it was the circuit going down that way that was the issue. Section box is there, and that's the section box that I'm sure when I opened it up it was basically snapped at one hinge and it fell open, and there was loads of old fuses just lying on the ground next to the section box, and there was loads of red spot fuses, and the inside of the section box was just an absolute mess. So I'll look at that in a second. So what I'm going to do off camera is, because I'm positive it's the circuit going down that way, all that stuff's on there, so that's obviously off a different box that'll just be permanently supplied, whether that's private. I'll just go a drive down here and find my cable route and see if there's any sort of opportunities down the line for me to split it, so that I can obviously carry out IR tests, etc. But I'll do that off camera, because I've not got a mount or anything like that in my van for me to be showing you that, and I've not got my GoPro with me today, unfortunately. Right, so as mentioned, here's my section box here. Straight away that's not a good sign. I'm pretty sure I said the exact same stuff the last time I was here. There was a load of fuses just lying there. I'm sure this box is, aye. Not ideal. Right. Aye, there you go. There's the red spots that I'm sure I seen last time as well. This box has just been butchered. Access to live parts and stuff like that as soon as you open this box. So not ideal, and obviously somebody's just pulled this. Where they begin with this, so you can obviously see why I said new panel for this one. Switch it on just now, and I don't know if you'll see that up that way's lighting. Down that way must be off a different circuit. Aye, it is. And then that way isn't lighting, so that's what this one must be for, and that's why that one's been pulled. So I'll just go and grab some hand tools and I'll come back in, and I'll even just see if that does pop that straight away, and then probably even just do an IR test from here, just even on 250, because there's also a few LEDs and stuff like that on this circuit, and then I'll look into breaking it down a bit. I've just got to do a wee IR testing this just now, just to see what's going on. I'm using my wee Toy Town Robin thing, and now I've still to go out and get my Mega or similar. I'll just go live and neutral to earth for the time being on 250. There we go. 10.1, 10.2 megohms. Probably slowly rising, so that looks okay. Again, try it on 500. The same. So I'll just go between live and air from 250. Between neutral, CPC. And then between line and neutral. Dead short, but again, I don't know if that's just going to be anything to do with anything up there, or the fact that there's LEDs and all sorts of sensitive gear. So I'll have a wee look up there just to see if there's anything obvious, because there's pull doors off left, right and centre up there, or the box doors, and then I'll even just split the circuit and take it for there. One of the other tests I actually like to do before I get too invested in the fault finding is just do a wee load test on this, just to see how many amps it's actually pulling. It can obviously be a wee bit of a step for a hint sometimes, but that's what pulling 2.8 amps. It's a nice dry day, whereas the last few days I believe have been quite wet. So I definitely think this will be something to do with water ingress at one of the fittings or one of the pull boxes, but I'll break it down and I'll have a wee look. Right, so that's confirmed that I've got my wee GS38 probes on this, but for I've got my wee GS38 probes, but for ease of testing, so that's the fuse that was in that, and that's popped. So I've just stuck a wee 16 amp in just now, fully anticipating that this is going to blow again, so I've obviously turned the power off again. I'll stick this one in and I'll see if it holds for any length of time or pops straight away. So it's this one on the left, obviously somebody's looks as if they've marked this with tape. So it's holding up for now, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'd probably rather it pop straight away so that I would get a clear indication of what the fault would maybe be, but regardless of that, I'm just going to start stripping this down a wee bit and doing some IR tests and see if I can find where it's maybe damaged insulation up there, or something shorted out inside one of the columns, and it's maybe water that's getting into one of the fittings, and that's what's causing it to pop. So I've went a wee drive. Looks to be 9 fittings, or technically 10 if you're including that X light. So that's definitely a place to look at, and I think that's at number, so that's number 7 in the list. The section box is just sort of up around there, follow the road round to the left, so that's number 7. You could maybe say then that that's 8, but it's probably a bit too far around to split it halfway. Again, I think I've mentioned that I generally tend to try and split it halfway if I can, obviously depending on access and stuff like that. It's a bit more difficult when it's overheads to do that, but I'll go back around to the section box and give you a look, switch on and just obviously confirm that it is this side, and see if there's anything obvious I can do with it. Right, so I've had a wee look at each of these 3 boxes, 3 split concentrics come up to it. So this first one here is my feed up, which then goes on to my overheads, feeds down that way, which is the bottom circuit. This one here, I've noticed it's got this wee nick in it, but it's not going to cause any real issues. This is literally just a feed up, and then what is it? The flex here, going up and supplying that fitting, and then this third one round the corner, it's just a feed up, and then it's not doing anything, but it would have been previously on, and would have either fed down that way, or more likely down that way, and it's maybe just been split in the past or something like that. So nothing obvious up here other than just missing doors and stuff like that, but it's not going to cause or probably isn't going to cause the fault unless water was to be getting in, and particularly any day all these connections all seem okay. Just given the fact that there's only 9 fittings or 9 columns on this, I'm going to try and even get into every one of them and give everyone a thorough check and see if I can spot the issue. So this is the end of line here, and I thought this one definitely merited some attention, and I thought I'd obviously bring you guys in to see it, but despite how awful it looks, all these cables floating about, this is an earth or CPC, that's a CPC, so I think that would have just been bolted onto the pole somewhere. That one looks as if it's got a crimp on it as well, that would have been thingied onto the pole or something like that. That one there's a neutral, and this one's my lie, but it's not really anything obvious here that I can see where it would be causing any issues. So I was really hoping that this one was going to be it, but it certainly looks like it's the next one just down there with the X light on it that was the issue. Or it certainly looks like could be that one there with the X light on it, but I definitely wanted to come and have a look at this one first. So sorry if there's any wind noise here, but I think I've found my issue. I've not really been able to show you too much just because I'm really pushed for time today, but I have been to every column on this stretch. I initially thought it was going to be that X light, but it turns out that's been disconnected in there, obviously from a previous fault. I don't know if you can see any sort of darkness around where the neutral bar is, and the lock in there instead. But this fitting's full of water, and I think just because it's an intermittent fault, obviously some of that's probably dried out now, but that's certainly the only thing that I can see, unless it's one of the other pole boxes without a door that's getting moisture in there and shorting anything out. But I certainly can't see anything. I've had a thorough look through all 9 of these columns. There's a mixture of arc LEDs, top entry 55s, 90 watt soxes, and then there's 1 or 2 new LEDs round the corner. So for whatever reason this must not be blowing the fuse in there, and must just be popping the fuse in the red spot back at the section box. So what I'm going to do is just drain this out for now, and I don't know if I've got any suitable fittings on the van for this. If I have, I'll just change it over for a thorn or whatever's on the van, and suitable obviously for a 90 watt equivalent replacement. But I'll no bother really showing you that because you've seen that a million times. But I'll drain this out, and that's pretty much going to be it, I think. So I know quite a few of you enjoy seeing this as much as I do, and again I'm obviously doing it one-handed, so not ideal. Have you look down below, there's nobody there. Aye, look at the amount of water in that, so you can understand why that's probably shorting something out in there. I'll strip it down, have a wee look and see, just out of more curiosity. You can see there's all sorts of moss and stuff like that growing in there as well. Yeah, but I'll strip this down a wee bit and have a look. So that's that drained of water. You'll probably see that flickering, but that's lighting up nicely. I'm a wee bit conflicted here, even though I'm obviously going to change it because the seals have obviously failed and it's letting in water. It's a perfectly working fitting, so it's just going to be a wee bit of a waste to strip it out and basically chuck it in the bin. This could be one that I maybe even just keep for myself because I know it's working, and I'll even see if I can source myself a new seal for it and some new clips and just give it all a clean up. Right, that's the box being put back to normal. The time clock's just been put back to auto, and that's me going to be standing down for here. I think I showed there that it probably was going to be the water ingress to that fitting. It's been dry and quite warm for the last few days, so that would have dried out a bit, but you've obviously seen the amount of water in that fitting there. One other thing I just want to address, and I think I touched on it when I was doing the tests, or doing some of the tests, that was obviously very brief. I went into it a wee bit more in depth, and the IR testing that I was doing, obviously I'm aware that aren't necessarily the readings that I was getting when testing the cables properly. Obviously the fuses were still in at each pole box. There was LEDs and stuff like that were still connected, and there's obviously sort of sensitive control gear, so I know that could obviously throw my readings, particularly when I'm doing my live to neutral. So just in case obviously anybody picks up on that. But that's pretty much it for this one. If there's anything else throughout the course of this day, then I'll jump back in with these. But as it stands, I think I've got to go and change a time clock somewhere, and then I've got to just sort of fall back on doing some fitting changes and stuff like that, so there likely won't be anything overly interesting. So I think some of the fitting changes are just going to be ASDs again, so nothing really interesting, but if there is anything, I'll jump back in and show you guys.